Shalom, shalom, Israel. His brother Yamarian coming back at you with another cold cut. I like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, right? I like to give double honors to the men out there on the highways and byways, right? Building this temple, right? Catching that fish, pushing this truth, right? If you got ears to hear, right? And the mighty Aquath out there, right? Reverencing their households, right? Keeping the commandments and being submissive unto their husbands, right? And the mighty children keeping the commandments as well, inviting their parents' households. Shalom, shalom, right? Today we're gonna get into history of Islam, man, right? Because our people love to be Muslims. Our people love to praise Allah. Our people love to bow down to that, man. But they don't even know what the word Quran means. They never read the Quran, right? They don't even know what the word Islam means. They just follow it, man. You know, and it's because they don't even know the history behind it. So we're gonna get into the history of Islam, right? We're gonna really get into it, man. You know, get into the history of Islam and the tenets of it. What is Islam? Right? Why do our people in mass numbers want to bow down to a damn rock, man, when the Lord said not to? You know? So we're going to get the history of Islam, right? Let me bring out this precept in Luke chapter 21. I'm going to kick it off with this. This is Luke chapter 21 and verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. So 1619, we love to talk about, you know, especially us Hebrews, we love to talk about the transatlantic slave trade because that's a prophecy that the Lord said will happen to his chosen people in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. But the slave trade that happened right before that, a lot of people don't like to talk about, right? They keep it kind of swept under the rug, right? And that's the sub-Saharan slave trade, where over 20 million of our brothers and sisters was sold all over to Eastern Arabia and East India under the hand of Muhammad, the so-called prophet Muhammad. And he never prophesied anything. But that was during the Dark Ages, man. Right? And a lot of people don't like to talk about, but we're going to bring out the sub-Saharan slave trade. We like how Christianity was beat into our people. Now you got our people in Catholic, in Baptist church, right? Protestants, right? Hey, the same thing. Islam was beat into our people, man, under the hand of so-called Muhammad, man, a so-called prophet Muhammad. His name is just Muhammad, right? Because he never prophesied anything. But we finna get into it, right? This book right here is called Babylon of Timbuktu. Right, I would suggest if you're a scholar, if you like history, right, I suggest you get this book, right? It's by Rudolph R. Windsor. He's a famous anthropologist during his time in the 80s, right? He studied the dark races on the earth, right? Different religions, right? Different backgrounds, and especially the study of the Hebrews, man, right? The so-called black Hebrews, we're just Hebrews, but he studied the Hebrews during that time and the people around them during that time. So this is a mighty book. I suggest you get it. I'm going to bring out some points from this book, right? This is the book Hebrew Wisdoms to West Africa, right? This is another mighty book, right? Written by Joseph J. Williams, right? Goes into the history of the West Indians, right? And goes into a little bit of Islam as well, right? I suggest people get this book as well if you like to study, you like history, right? You want to learn, right? Because the Bible is all about history. You know, so we're going to get out some tenets of this book going into the history of Islam, right? This is Babylon of Timbuktu, right? Page 45, right? The chapter, The Birth of Islam, right? So we're going to read the birth of Islam. We're going to see where it came from, the origins of Islam, right? And it says, in Shalaki, Islam came 630 years after the death of Jesus Christ, right? And it says, the birth of Islam, page 45, Europe remained dominant and inactive for 1,000 years, right? Because during the Dark Ages, the so-called white man was put out of power. You can read that in the book of Revelations, chapter 20 and verse 3 on to 4, and jump down to verse 7 on down. You can read about that, right? Where the so-called white man was living in mountains, right? And our people was ruling during the Dark Ages, hence the name Dark Ages, because dark people ruled the world, right? Europe remained dormant and active for 1,000 years through the Dark Ages, while the Muslim Empire mastered the civilized progressive world. Let us return now to survey the rise of the Muslim religion and empire in Arabia. When Muhammad was born, many Arabs were still worshiping the sun, stars, spirits, and idols, right? So a lot of people don't understand, before Muhammad, right, before he gave them the idea of monotheism, right, which he took from the Jews, right, they were serving over 360 gods, right? I was going to tell you that. The Arabs possessed 360 idols, one for each day of the year. So the Arabs was into a damn idolatry, man. Serving all these damn different gods, man. Right? But hey, we're going to read on. Muhammad was born AD 570. 4 years after the death of Emperor Justinian, he descended from the tribe of Koresh and the family Hashem. His mentality was prejudiced. In his youth, he was never taught to read or write. So this man Muhammad was illiterate, man. This man Muhammad couldn't read or write, man. You put a damn paper in front of him, he gonna look at you like this. Like, what you want me to do with this? Right? You kind of ask him, hey, yo, can you write down this for me? You know, can you write that? He gonna look at you with the pen, gonna be like, what is this? Right? But y'all serving this religion, man. Right? Y'all serving this religion, the man couldn't even read or write. But hey, let's read on about him. Right? It says, but his imagination was superlative. So he had a superlative. He was very creative. Right? Muhammad was an extraordinarily handsome man and eloquent and motivating men with the power of words. Right? Let me jump down. And it says, after Muhammad became a camel driver, he traveled to remote and intriguing lands. He led his caravans to Persia, Syria, and Egypt, transacting business with the merchants of every kind. On his business trip, he met Jews, Christians, and members of other sects. He interrogated them concerning the tenets of the religion. So, hey, he met Christians, right? He met Jews, right? And he interrogated them. When you interrogate somebody, you kind of frequently asking questions. Like being in an interrogation room, they ask you all these questions, man. Right? That's how he wasn't just asking questions; he was interrogating them. But let's see what religion. Let's see what a group he loved best. Right? He frequented the environment of the Jews and their rabbis, mostly because they were merchants and omnipresent ethnic group, right? Because the Jews, we were scattered, right? So we was omnipresent. It seemed like we was everywhere. We was in Arabia, right? We was in Eastern and Northern Africa. We was in Western Africa, right? We was everywhere. We was in Europe ruling during that time, like King James, right? Ruled Scotland for 27 years, and then Great Britain, right? So we was an omnipresent group. So, but he loved us the most, right? And it says, because he could not read or write, his ears were attentive and keen to everything that the Jews related to him. Muhammad learned and extracted much from the Jewish religion and compounded it with his new religion, Islam. So Islam is just a fake off brand of the Bible, man, right? This is real history that we're reading. Muhammad took everything that he learned from the Jews, right, kind of heard it and came up with a new doctrine called Islam, man. Right? Well, we're going to read on. Right? Right? This is page 47 of the same book. And it says, incidentally, I'm going to start from the top. By this time, the Hebrew Old Testament had been translated into Arabic. Wait. Hold on. Why was the Hebrew Old Testament translated into Arabic? Because they know this is your book, man. And they wanted a piece of this. Right? They had this translated so they can read your book, man. Right? And it says, and the Arabs were rapturously pleased to read about their great ancestors in the story of the Hebrew patriarch. Right? They're talking about Ishmael. They were pleased to read about Ishmael getting a blessing for becoming a great nation. Right? Back in the book of Genesis. They were pleased to read that. But hey, he didn't get the promise. Isaac got the promise. Right? But they were pleased to read that. They were trying to cleave on to the Jews. They were trying to cleave on to us, man. Right? And it says, this fact alone helped Muhammad inspire in the Arabs the feeling of nationalism and racial pride. So when they read about Ishmael, that sparked that feeling of nationalism and racial pride to be an Arab, man. Right? The Jews, they knew he was the greatest people on the face of the earth. But just because Ishmael was related to Isaac, now they think, okay, yes, we just like the Jews now. Right? We're better than everybody else too. Right? Let me go to Genesis chapter 17 to read about the blessing that the Most High gave Ishmael. Right? So this is what Muhammad used to help perpetuate his religion. He used our book and to talk about Ishmael to come up with Islam, right? And to try to gain followers, man. Right? Over here, piggybacking off the cloud of what they say, no, off the cloud of our book, man. He trying to get clout off us, man. Right? This is the history of Islam, man. This is Genesis chapter 17. Right? Slacking. I'm in the wrong chapter. Bear with me. All right, this is Genesis chapter 17. All right, Shalaki, this is Genesis 17, and I'm gonna start at verse 17. I'm gonna start at verse 18. And Abraham said unto the living God, "Oh, that Ishmael might live before thee," right? And the Most High said, "Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him." So the Most High chose Isaac to have those promises. The covenant belongs to Isaac, right? And through his son Jacob. But what does he say about Ishmael? That Muhammad and his Arab people were so excited about, right? Verse 19. And the Most High says, Sarah, or Shalaki, verse 20. And as for Ishmael, right, that was the firstborn of Abraham. But the Most High wasn't dealing with Ishmael and Hagar, right? And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and I will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he begot, and I will make him a great nation, right? So that's the promise that was given to Ishmael, right? That he will be made a great nation, right? And exceedingly fruitful. Right, that's why you see all the Arabs, they live in that land, they all dwell amongst each other, right? They all dwell amongst their brethren, right? A fruitful people, or 12, and when you go into the history of Arabs, they had literally had 12 princes set up, right? They still even have monarchy, like in Saudi Arabia, they still have kings and stuff of that nature, right? Because that's what the Most High said they would have. Verse 21, but what the Lord say? But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. So this is what they were reading, right? This is what the Muhammad was reading. Remember, they translated our Old Testament to Arabic so they can read this, man, right? So it sparked the feeling of nationalism. So this is what he used to perpetuate his religion, right? And it says, I'm going back to Babylon and Timbuktu. This fact alone helped Muhammad to inspire in the Arabs a feeling of nationalism and racial pride, because they read in the Hebrew scripture, what we just read, right, that Ishmael was to become a great nation, and we just read that. So that's what he used to perpetuate his damn religion, right? And it says Muhammad masterminded the first stage of his revolution by undermining and discredit prevailing established beliefs and customs, questioning other political, social, and religious institutions. Muhammad attacked the merchants and rulers in Mecca who employed the well of Ishmael and the Kaaba for monetary gain. Not only did he speak out against idolatry, but also against gambling and drunkenness. Because he spoke against the wine enterprise in the city of Taif, Muhammad was compelled to leave the city. So he was kicked out of the city, man. Right? So he basically robbed them. Right? This is page 48, chapter. Right? Islam and Judaism. Right, so let's get some stuff out of that. All right, let's get some history out of that. All right, Shalaki. And it says Islam and Judaism. The Prophet Muhammad adopted many principles and laws from the Jewish religion. First of all, the basic idea of monotheism. So the basic idea, remember, the Arabs were serving 360 gods, one for each day of the year. But when Muhammad came along and he heard about the Jews, right, he said, hold on. The idea of one God, Ishmael was to become a great nation next to his brother Isaac, right? He kind of stole that and made Allah, right, which just means God in Hebrew, huh? Right? And it says the basic idea of monotheism. So that belief of one God, that came from the Jews, right? Which is the belief in one God, the Jewish confession of the unity of God. All right, let me jump down. It says Muhammad adopted also the many main details of the Jewish calendar. The Day of Atonement, right? You got Ramadan, right? Where we keep the Day of Atonement, they got Ramadan. And it says the Sabbath, right? They changed their Sabbath, our Sabbath, from Friday night to Saturday. Their Sabbath is just Friday, right? And it says much of the Bible. So he got much of the Bible, right? He went into the Bible and got much of this stuff and put it with Islam. And it says in narratives from the Madrash and many points of the ritual law. Incidentally, the Jews pray 3 times a day facing the city of Jerusalem, and the Muslims, right, pray 5 times a day facing towards Mecca. Trying his best, Muhammad sought to convert the Jews to his new religion. So Muhammad tried his best to convert our people to his new religion, right? He went up to so-called blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans, right, the Jews, and he said, you know what, I got this new thing, Islam. right? I need y'all to convert to this, man. Right? I want y'all to become, leave y'all religion, leave y'all history, leave the book of y'all forefathers and come into my new religion. That's what he was trying to do, right? And it says the Jews were adamant and resistant to change. So we knew that damn thing, that fake Islam. Man. We already knew what was up. We were like, no, we're not resistant. We're not changing to Islam, right? We're gonna keep the law, statutes, commandments of our fathers, right? We're not dealing with that, man. You know our people. We probably kind of mocked him. Right, you kind of slapped them upside the head, talking about get out of here. Right, you know our people, right? But Muhammad, he got mad, right? And it says the high esteem which the prophet held for the Jews was transformed to enmity. So the high esteem that he had for our people, once we said no to that damn Islam, that love turned to hatred, man. And we gonna see how that hatred turned into the sub-Saharan slave trade, right? And it said, and instead of allies, he looked upon them as competitors. Muhammad needed the confirmation of the influential Jews to validate his mission, right? Because, and that's in the society as well, right? If you start in something, right? Let's say you start a basketball clinic, right? Or a football clinic. You're going to want a famous basketball player or a famous football player to promote your clinic, right? Because it gives you some type of credibility. It gives you some type of status. Like people, oh, if he said it, that must be true. Right? If he's promoting it, that must be true. That's what he tried to do with the Jews. Right? He tried to get us to promote his Islam, man. Right? So other people will come and follow and say, hold on, if the Jews are supporting it, and we know they're the greatest people on the face of the earth, that means Islam must be real. Right? So he tried to get us to kind of support, right? And kind of advertise, right? His fake religion. Right? And it says Muhammad needed the confirmation of the influential Jews to validate his mission, as all upstarts needing the backing of someone influential, right? Because all upstarts, they need somebody to influence and to kind of speak on their behalf, right? To give them credibility, right? And it says Muhammad therefore turned against the Jews and became their tormentor. So after we said no to his religion, he started to torment us as a people, man, right? Because we wasn't dealing with Islam, right? This is the chapter, the two daughters of Judaism, right? The two daughters of Judaism, right? Page 49. So we going through it. We going through the history, right? And it says, second stanza, Muhammad tried to construct his religion as closely as he could after the Jewish religion. So he tried to mirror the Bible, right? He tried to make it an off-brand of the Bible. A lot of people don't even notice, what does the word Quran mean? The word Quran literally means to recite, because Muhammad couldn't read or write, so he literally tried to recite the scriptures, man. Everything that was in the Old Testament, the scriptures, right? He tried to put it with Islam. That's what the word Quran means. It just means to recite, right? And it says Muhammad tried to construct his religion as closely as he could after the Jewish religion. He favored the Jews by accepting many of their laws and traditions. When the Jews refused to convert, he commanded his followers to stop turning to the holy city of Jerusalem in prayer, right? So before they turned to Mecca, they was turning to our homeland, Jerusalem, to pray towards the east, where we pray, right? But once we said no, he said, hey, no, we're not facing towards Jerusalem, but what? And it says, but rather turn to the city of Mecca. He changed the Jewish Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, right, or fast day, which he accepted for the month of Ramadan. Muhammad changed the Jewish Sabbath from Saturday to Friday, right? Right, and it says in the 4th century, the church changed the Sabbath to Sunday. So the Christianity changed our Sabbath to Sunday. Islam changed our Sabbath from Saturday to Friday, right? And reorganized this calendar to make Easter separate of Passover, like Christianity, right? Christianity is a pagan religion, right? They separated a lot of different things. Like Easter is a pagan religion. It has nothing, it's not even in the Bible. It has nothing to do with the Bible, right? Also, Muhammad included in his Bible, the Quran, right, accusations concerning the Jews. So he got so mad that in his Quran, he started putting accusations in there about our people, simultaneously saying in the Quran that you have to refer back to the Bible to understand the Quran. You see how contradicting it is, right? And it says, nevertheless, it's going to tell you, the Quran glorifies many biblical personalities. So at the same time, he tried to down talk the Jews in his Quran. It glorifies the Bible and it tells you to refer back to the Bible, right? See that? Page 50. All right. So it was with Muhammad, he had come to a point of no return. He became a religious extremist in order to give his people a better life on a rapid scale. Muhammad came to the conclusion that all means of persuasion have been exhausted. So he got tired of preaching. Muhammad got tired of talking. He got tired of persuading people to become in his religion. He said, you know, I'm done talking, man. I'm ready to pick up the sword. I'm ready to fight and die for my new religion, Islam. Right? He's going to tell you that. And it says, Muhammad came to the conclusion that all means of persuasion had been exhausted. The period of patience was past. So I'm done being patient with y'all, man. Right? And he was now determined to propagate his religion by the sword. Right? Hold on. I thought Islam was a peaceful religion. Right? Hold on. He said, I'll pick up the sword, man. I'm tired of y'all saying no to my Islam. I'm tired of y'all saying no to my Quran. It's time to kill y'all, man. And who became his targets? Was it the so-called white man? Right? Who became his targets? Was it the East Indians? We became his targets, man. Right? Because we mocked that Islam, man. Right? And it says, Muhammad became a martial prophet, and the pagans and stubborn Jews became his victims. We became the victims. Hence the sub-Saharan slave trade, man. Right? Where over 20 million, like I said, of our brothers and sisters were sold into East India, man, and Eastern Arabia. And 80% of our men and women and children died on the way. Right? Got to look that up. Right? And it says, in the year 627, the Battle of the Foss occurred. The Jewish tribes were defeated by the armies of Muhammad. Right? 700 Jews were gathered in the marketplace and offered the alternative, the Quran or the sword. But the devout Jews were accustomed to martyrdom, right? Because in our Bible, we willing to die we willing to die for our nationality. Our forefathers were willing to die for what they believed in. We were accustomed to martyrdom. It wasn't new to us to die for what we believed in, right? Let's get some precepts out of that. Right? This is 2nd Maccabees. Right? Read the book of 2nd Maccabees, the 6th and 7th chapter, right? Where our forefathers were compelled to eat pork, and they said we would rather die than do that. Right? Read this, man. Right? This is the book of 2nd Maccabees. All right? That's the book of 2nd Maccabees. Chapter This is 2nd Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 1. It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the laws to eat swine's flesh. So when you read this chapter, it's going into how Antiochus, or the king at that time, right, compelled our people to eat swine's flesh. So you have this mother and her 7 sons compelled to eat pork and were tormented with scourges and whips. So they were being tortured to eat pork. But what did our forefathers and foremothers say? Verse 2, but one of them spake first and said thus, why wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die rather to transgress the laws of our fathers. So our forefathers said we were ready to die for the law, statute, commandments rather than to break them for our God, right? We were accustomed to martyrdom, right? Let me go to the book of Revelations chapter 2. Right, we're going to read about Antipas. Antipas was a Hebrew who died, right, because he served Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, and he didn't convert to the other religions, right? This is Revelations chapter 2 and verse 13. I know thy works and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. And thou holdest fast my name and hast not denied my faith. Even in those days where Antipas was my faithful martyr, who were slain among you where Satan dwelleth. So Antipas was a faithful martyr for Yahushua, right? He died for the Lord, right? Let me go to the book of Psalms chapter 15. This is Psalms chapter 116 and verse 15. So our people already knew about this, right? Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. So it's precious in the sight of the Lord when you die for his name. right? When you die for the Lord and you die for what you believe in, that's precious in the sight of the Lord. The same way, you know, your son scored a touchdown, the same way, right, you see your son cross somebody over and then hit a basket. You look at, you say, that's my son, right? Hey, that's my seed right there. The same way you do that is the same way to how the Lord feels about his saints when they die for his name, right? Let me go to the book of second Ezra. Right, it's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16. And verse 73. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, right? And they shall be tried as gold in the fire. Hear you, O my beloved, saith the Lord. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. So the Lord tries people in the fire. And one of those certain things is a death, right? This is Sirach chapter 4 and verse 28. What did the Lord say about you dying for him? Right, this is Sirach chapter 4. And a lot of people say they love God, but are they really ready to die for the Lord? Our people were accustomed to martyrdom. So we said no to that Islam, man, because we knew this precept right here. This is Sirach chapter 4 and verse 28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for you. Right? So if you strive for the truth unto death, and Islam's not the truth, man. Islam is not the truth. Why do you think our people say, well, no, we're gonna die for we're gonna die being Jews. We're not gonna convert to Islam, man. Right? But hey, it says strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for you. So if our people wasn't striving for Islam, is that really the truth? So let's get back into it, right? So that was our history, right? Showing how we strive for the truth unto death in different situations, right? So it says the Jews were accustomed to martyrdom. They did not hesitate in their choice. So we didn't hesitate in our choice to say, no, I'm going to die for the Lord, right? We didn't hesitate, man. We didn't say, well, Islam it sounds like the Bible, so, we might convert to Islam, it sound, we still serving one God, Allah, in Hebrew, it just means God. So no, we didn't hesitate in our choice, man, right? Muhammad carried out the bestial threat, executed the Jews, and the women were sold. So they sold our women, man, into slavery because we didn't get down with that damn Islam and Allah, man, right? And it says there were another city of Medina called the Chaibar. The city was headquarters of the Jewish power in Arabia. So you had a lot of Jews in Arabia during that time, right? Because we understand that Babylonian captivity, right? A lot of our people fled into Arabia, right? Even Ryan is going to tell you the Jews of Chaibar were transplanted to Syria. So you had a lot of our people in Arabia during that time. That's why it says we were an omnipresent group, right? We are an omnipresent group, right? Let me get the book of Hebrewism to West Africa, page 241. Yup, right? Hebrewisms to West Africa, page 244. Let's read about it. And it says, Muhammad and the Jews. The relations that had existed between the Mohammedans, right, the followers of Muhammad, and the Jews have for the most part been friendly, right? So when he first became, like we just read in Babylon and Timbuktu, he was asking us questions. He was trying to get to know our religion. He said, yeah, that's nice right there, right? Hey, I'm coming up with a religion too, hey, I want y'all to convert. He was kind of talking to us, trying to be cool. But what happened when we said no, right? And it says, after the initial hatred of the prophet itself had worn itself out, in the connection, we are told by Samuel M. Zwemer, in the 7th year of the Hijra, 629 AD, Muhammad assembled a force of 1,600 warriors and marched against the Jewish strongholds at Chaibar. The Jews were subjugated or slain. So he came up with 1,600 men and either killed us or put us in slavery because we said no to his religion. And it says, and there was much booty, meaning much rewards, right? Much treasure that he took from our people, right? And it says, including a new wife for the prophet, right? About 2 years previously, he had conducted an expedition against the Jews of Bani Korazai, right? When 700 captives were slain, right? In the 6th year of the Hijrah, also there have been expeditions against the Jews and idolaters, right? The prophet's earliest hostilities then would seem to have been against the Jews and the idolaters. So he had an animosity against our people, man. Anybody that didn't want to serve Islam and the Jews, man, right? He didn't care, man, right? He was trying to destroy our people for saying no to his bogus religion, man, right? And it says, I'm going to read this personal animosity. I'm going to read this stanza. Lewis Brown thus explains the condition of affairs. When Muhammad fled to Medina, it was the year 622. One of his dearest desires was to make followers of the Jews there. Hey, he said, man, look, I don't care about anybody else. I need the Jews to convert to my religion. I need the Jews to convert to my religion, man. Right? He said, I need the so-called blacks and Spanish and Native Americans to become Islamic. I need them to do that, man. Right? And it says, the Jews showed some interest at first in the movement, right? So we showed some interest in it because it sounded just like our Bible. It sounded just like our damn our damn religion. It sounded like us. It was like, hold on, wait, what is this? Right? Kind of sound like what we serve. But we kind of got deeper into it and we kind of find out it was a fraud, right? And it said, for Muhammad claimed he had been sent by their God, and they thought he might be the Messiah. So hey, Muhammad, he was a damn emulator, man. He was a fraud. He said, I was sent by Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah himself to declare this new religion unto y'all, man. Kind of lying to our people's faces. And we thought he could be the Messiah. Because we read about, we already knew the Messiah was prophesied in the Old Testament, right? But what happened? And it says, but when they came to know Muhammad better and found out how ignorant he was and how much fonder he seemed of pretty women than of what the Jews considered godly ways, they refused to have more than anything to do with him. Their minstrels ridiculed him in sarcastic poems and tried to make him the laughing stock of Medina. So, hey, when we kind of found out what his religion was all about, that he was a fraud, that he was not sent by the true and living God of the Bible, right? We kind of started, you know, our people, right? We know Jake and Eve, right? We kind of started mocking him, right? Like I said, slapping him upside the head, making poems about, hey, poems are just raps. Our people was making raps about him, right? Throwing Muhammad in this song, right? That's our people. But guess what Muhammad did? Muhammad said, you know what? He kind of turned into a school shooter, right? He said, you know what? I'm going to kill all y'all black people. I'm going to kill all y'all Jews, right? That's what he did, man, right? And tried to make him the laughing stock of Medina. The result was that as soon as enough Arabs had gathered under his banner, Muhammad tried on the Jews and butchered them without mercy. So he killed our people without mercy, man. I'm talking about slaughtering our people, man. And it says he had made up his mind that the stubborn people of the book. Who's the stubborn people of the book? We gonna find out. We're the stubborn people of the book, right? This is Jeremiah chapter 4 and verse 22. Because this is what the Lord said. We're hard-headed people. This is what the Lord said. This is Jeremiah chapter 4 and 22. And it says, Jeremiah 4 and 22, for my people are foolish. For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are stupid children and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil and to do good. They have no knowledge. So that's what the Lord said of our people, because we keep breaking the law, statute, commandments, right? We want to do evil, but we don't want to serve the Lord. We're wise to do evil, but to do good, we have no knowledge. And the other nations knew that about us. The other nations knew we were stiff-necked people. The other nations knew we kept going into slavery because we kept breaking the commandments of our God. That's documented in here. So, hey, Muhammad knew we were the people of the book. He knew we were stubborn because we didn't want to convert to his ways, man. Right? We're stubborn because we kept breaking the law, statute, commandments of God, right? We're not stubborn because we didn't want to convert to damn Islam, man. Right? But he knew we were the stubborn people of the book, right? And it says he had made up his mind that the stubborn people of the book would not possibly be converted, right? We wasn't going for that, right? And it says, and after decimating their ranks, he turned back to more promising task of converting the rest of his brethren. So after he's like, I'm giving up on the Jews, I'm just going to convert the rest of my Arab brothers and sisters, right? That's why you have a lot of Arabs. They say, you know what? We're going to be Islam. We're going to be Muslims, right? Next verse, right? Forbearance of Islam. With the death of the prophet, however, his personal animosity against the Jews no longer influenced the hordes of Islamism. As Brown thus makes clear, early in the 8th century, however, the dawn of a new day to break, as the Mohammedans drove their armies of Persia in the Christian nations before him, the Jews began to slowly lift themselves out of the dust. For the Mohammedans were now strangely tolerant of the Jews. Muhammad himself had been long dead, and with him had died his chagrin because the people of the book would not accept the Quran. His successors only knew the Jews as a people who by race and religion were somewhat like themselves, right? Because they, like I said, they keep trying to put themselves next to us because Ishmael was going to be made a great nation. So they keep saying we're like themselves, man, right? When the Lord said against any, let me get this. Right? We're not like the Arabs. We're not like them at all. Right? We're not like the Arabs. Right? This is Leviticus. All right, let's get it. This is Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 26. And you shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people that you should be mine. So the Lord said we're cut off from other people. We're severed, meaning we belong to the Lord. We're separate. So no, we're not like the Arabs at all, right? We're a different and holy nation, man. We're better than them according to God, right? And it says, perhaps they realized also that without the Jews to serve as scouts, they themselves would have been almost helpless. So they needed our people, right? For they could trust the Jews alone to show them the way about the vast world beyond the desert, because we've been traveling everywhere. They didn't know anywhere around the desert but the but where they were dwelling, right? They didn't know about Western Africa. They didn't know about Eastern Africa, Northern Africa, right? They didn't know about any of those different things, right? Because they were dwelling right in Arabia, man, right? So they needed our people to show them around, right? Because remember, we were an omnipresent group, man. Right? And it says, the Jews had traveled everywhere and seemed to know every language. We was a very skillful people, man. Without their aid, the Arab invaders would have utterly lost their bearings as they swept through the great countries to the right, on the east, and to the left of the Mediterranean basin. So like, as we keep reading, it's going to click to you that our people being in Islam instead of the Bible is a very dumb thing, man, considering they copied our book, right, and try to convert us with their book, man, right? So we bringing out the history for you, man, right? Even in the Quran, let me get some verses from the Quran, right? Let's get some verses from the Quran. Surah, right? Right? And Quran is supposed to be a religion of peace, but why does it talk about killing people, right? So Surah chapter 8 and verse 65, implementing his policy to kill, right? When the Lord said, thou shalt not murder, right? And it says Surah 66 and verse 9 says the same thing. Surah chapter 2 and verse 98 and Surah chapter 2 and verse 61, right? All implementing policies that you can kill, right? That you can, not saying kill, but that you can murder, right? And it says, let's get some other precepts, right, from the Quran, right? So we going in their book, man, right? We're going to go in their book, right, to prove, right, our stances, right? And it says, let's read Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6 in the Bible, right? Because in Surah chapter 2, verse 122, it says that the Israelites are the chosen people of God, that the Jews are actually the chosen people. Right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 and 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God, right? For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So this verse right here is in Surah chapter 2 and verse 122. And you can look these verses up. That's why I'm reading it out. You can look it up. You can kind of validate it for yourself, right? And it says, Surah Surah chapter 3 and verse 79. What does that say? If Muslims ever have questions on the truth or on the Quran, what do they have to do? They have to refer back to the prophets, right? So if Muslims have questions about the Quran, they have to refer back to the prophets. Who are the prophets? Let's go to the book of Amos chapter 2 and verse 11. We're going to find out who the prophets are. All right. Let's go to the book of Amos chapter 2 and verse 11. Right? Because our people are being led away, man. Misconstrued. Strayed. Right? It's Amos chapter 2 and verse 11. And I raised up of your sons for prophets. Whose sons? Right? And it says, and of your young men for Nazarites. Is it not even thus, O you children of Israel, saith the Lord? Right? So that's a cut too. Right? Because how can Muhammad be a prophet when he's not even a damn Israelite, man? When the Lord said, I raised up your sons for prophets. All right? This is Amos chapter 3 and verse 7. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. Right? Who's the servants of the Lord? Who's the chosen? Just read Isaiah 44 and 1. Right? Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 4. We're the chosen, man. We're the prophets that the Lord have sent out. All the prophets in the Bible prophesied, and they were all Israelites. You're not going to read one Arab prophet in here. Right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 29 and 29. Let's go to the law. This is Deuteronomy 29 and 29. The secret things belong unto the Lord our God. Right? So the secret things belong to the Lord. Let's see who he reveals those things to. Right? Was it the Arabs? Right? And it says, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. So so all the secrets belong to the Lord, but he reveals it to the children of Israel. He reveals it to our people. He never revealed a damn prophecy to Muhammad, man. Right? So let's get some more verses out the Quran. Surah chapter 3 verse 93 to 94. You have to read the Torah to know who's following God according to the Quran. So to know how to follow Allah or the God of the Quran, you have to go to you have to read the Torah of the Bible, right? Because remember, we read in Babylon and Timbuktu, he extracted much from the Jewish religion. So in the Quran itself, it tells you to go back to the first 5 books, the books of instruction. That's what Torah means, the Torah, meaning the books of instruction. You have to go back to our book to understand how to follow the Quran correctly, which is a contradiction. You might as well just read your book in the first place, Jake. You might as well read the book in the first place. We talk to a lot of so-called blacks, right? African Americans that's in Islam, and they say, yeah, I've read the Bible before. You have to read the Bible because the Quran tells you to, right? Why don't you just come back to your nationality as a Hebrew then, instead of just being in the Quran? Right? You see that? But nonetheless, that's in their own book that they have to come back to the scriptures. Right? Surah chapter 32 and verse 23. It tells you that the Bible is for the Israelites. So in their own Quran, it tells you that this book right here belongs to nobody but the Israelites, man. The so-called black, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Right? It tells you that. Right? It tells you that. Let's go to the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 41. In the Bible, it already tells you that them Arabs bought you for slaves, man. Right? Let's go to the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 41. Right? So we talk about the sub-Saharan slave trade, man. Right? A lot of people don't want to talk about this. Stop, cut off the video. Don't talk about the Don't talk about the sub-Saharan slave trade. Don't talk about the origins of Islam and how fraudulent it is. Don't do that, man. Nah, man, we're going to talk about it and we're going to declare the truth. Thus saith the Lord, man. All right, we're cutting down these false doctrines in these last days, man. All right, you got our damn people bound down to a rock, man. That can't save them, man. All right, this is 1 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 41. And it says, and the merchants of the countries, hearing the fame of them, right, hearing the fame of our people, took silver and gold very much with servants and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves. Who came in to buy the children of Israel for slaves? You had the Grecians come in to buy our people for slaves and took our gold and our silver. But that's not all, right? You had 2 other nations there as well. Who is there? A power also of Syria. Them Arabs came into our tents, into our gates, along with the Grecians to buy our people as slaves. And who else? And the land of the Philistines joined themselves unto them, meaning the nasty Africans, man. Them Hamites, them Philistines. Our people love to say we Africans, but hold on, why do you have in the Bible that Africans coming to buy so-called Black and Hispanic and Native Americans for slaves? Also with the Arabs, along with the so-called white man. Why? I thought we were African. I thought we were Muslims. Hold on, they were buying you for slaves and they were forcing that and beating that into you. So generations later, you have our sons and our daughters declaring themselves to be Muslim. Because even in the Quran, it tells you if you're a slave and you convert to being a Muslim, you can't be a slave anymore. So what do you think our people was doing? Right? Allah, bowing down to a damn rock and going about it so they don't have to be slaves anymore. And they were teaching their sons and daughters to be Muslims, right? So they don't have to be slaves anymore, man. Right? Let's go to the book of Joel chapter 2. All right, let's go to the book of Joel chapter 2. This is Joel chapter 2 and verse 1. Right? This is a prophecy. Right? This is what the Lord is going to do to the people that did this to us. This is what they did to us, man. This is Joel 2 and 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people, for my heritage Israel. So the Lord said he's going to judge the nations for what they have done to us over the course of history. The sub-Saharan slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, right? During the Persian and Median Empire, the Silk Road slave trade, where we built the Great Wall of China under the Qing dynasty, right? All of the Egyptians, right? The Assyrian Empire, the Babylonians, right? The Romans, the Grecians, right? All 18 nations had us as slavery. So this is what the Lord is going to do to them. Whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land, right? Because the Arabs and the so-called white man parted the Lord's land. Right now, you have the Arabs fighting the so-called white man right now in Israel for your land, Jake, for your land. And when you banging blocks, are you banging blocks and they fighting over your land, right? But the Lord said he's gonna do something to them for parting his land, right? Verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, right? So they put us into slavery, right? And have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink, right? Watch the movie Goodbye Uncle Tom. They literally they painted this man gold, right? One of our children gold, and they sold him for wine, man, to another man so they can have sex with our sons, man. This is in the Bible. They sold our girls for wine, man, right? And they given a boy for a harlot, man. Our young men were sex slaves, man, right? And it says, verse 4, yea, and what you have to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, those are African nations. Because remember, when we was in the west coast of Africa, we didn't sell ourselves into slavery. That's a genocide to your own people. The Jews didn't sell themselves into slavery. The Africans dwelling in that area sold us into slavery to the so-called white man, right? Also with the Arabs as well. It was a joint conspiracy to put us into slavery. Why do you think we had the sub-Saharan slave trade a little bit after the Dark Ages, 1619, we go into slavery under the so-called white man, and then Africa becomes a rich nation in resources with guns and different things of that nature. It was a joint conspiracy to put the best people in the world into slavery. And what did the Lord say? Yea, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Them Palestinians, them Arabs, right? They were in it as well. But what the Lord say? Will you render me a recompense, right? You gonna pay me back for not choosing Ishmael? You gonna pay me back for not choosing them Ham, but I chose Isaac, so you gonna put my people into slavery? That's what the Lord is saying. Will you give me a recompense? But what the Lord say, right? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I turn your recompense upon your own head. Right? So the Lord says, swiftly, I'm going to return that same payback unto you. Let's keep reading. Because you have taken my silver and my gold and have carried into your temples my goodly and pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, the so-called white men, right? That you might remove them far from their border. And we're removed far from our border. We're on the other side of the world. We're supposed to be in Israel, but we're in the land of America because the Arabs and the damn Africans sold us unto the Grecians, sold us unto the so-called white men, right? That's in the Bible. Rereading the Bible, right? Everybody got this in their house. Everybody got this in Granny's kitchen. It's open to Philippians 3:14, right? This is in everybody's crib, right? This collecting dust. But we reading real history that has to do with the other nations and has to do with the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Put down the damn Quran and pick up your book, Jay, right? Pick up your book, right? You have to understand that, man. All right? Let's see what else we got. Right? Right? So the sub-Saharan slave trade, right, predated the transatlantic slave trade by over 700 years, right? And it says, right? And it says, when 20 million of our people were put into slavery, 80% of them died. Now, out of that 80% died, right? You probably got a few million left, right? They castrated our men and our sons. What is castration? Right? We're gonna look up the definition of castration. Right? This is what they did. Right? This is what the Arabs did to our men. Castration. The removal of testicles of a male animal or a man. Right? The state of being deprived of power, vitality, or vigor. These Arabs cut off the private parts of our men and our women because their women were attracted to our men. Just like in the transatlantic slave trade, when Massa wasn't in the house, when Massa went on a far journey, what did the women do? The women had sex with our men. But the Arabs wasn't going for that. They said, you're not touching our women, man, no matter how desirable they are unto you. So they cut off the penises and the rods of our young men, right, and our sons, man. Right? That's called chemical warfare. That's called genetic warfare, man. Right? They practice genetic warfare, right? By cutting off the privy parts of our men and women, man. Right? That's how you decrease a population of people, because now we can't reproduce as a nation. Right? We couldn't reproduce. Right? Let me go to Exodus chapter 1 and verse 8. And these nations always knew that, man. That we was a fruitful nation. We were always reproducing at a mass rate, man. But these damn heathens cut off the private parts of our men. Right? It's Exodus chapter 1 and verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. These Africans say, hold on, man. These Israelites are stronger than us and more than us, man. Right? And they're in our homeland. Hold on. We got to devise a game plan against these Jews, man. Right? We got to devise a game plan against the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We got to get up out of here. Right? Verse 10, come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass, when they falleth out any war, they join also into our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. So what they were scared of was that since we were being a great nation in the land of Egypt, if the Egyptians went to war with a different nation, they were scared that we would team up and click up with that other nation to get the Egyptians out of their own land. So he said, hold on, man, we got to get these Israelites up out of here. They're more and mightier than we. They're stronger than us. They're smarter than us. They're faster than us. They're more intellectual. They're more built. They're more strong, right? We got to get them up out of here, man. Right? And it says, jump down to verse 11. Actually, keep reading on. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasured cities, Pithom and Ramses. Right? We built the Sphinx. We built that the pyramids. Right? Verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, so the more that they kept whipping us, they kept beating us, just like in slavery. What happened? The more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. So the more that we were getting afflicted is the more that they grew. But hey, that's what the Arabs, they said, hold on, no. Because every time we keep afflicting them, they keep growing. We got to cut off their private parts, man. Right? We got to make them, we got to do genetic warfare, man, against these people. Right? To help decrease their size and population, man. Right? That's what the Lord, didn't the Lord say, I will make these small among the heathen? Right? The Lord said, I will make these small among the heathen. All right? Let's see. right? Let's see some more notes that we got on, right? Right, the book, The 13th Tribe, page 27, right? The 13th Tribe, page 27, right? Suggest y'all get this book as well. And it says, right, this is during the Christianity and Islamic expansion, right? When it says, after Muhammad conquered North, South, and Eastern Africa, he wanted to go into Europe and spread his religion there, right? But Christianity and Catholicism was heavily present in Europe, right? So that they weren't going for that over there, right? And the Arabs fought against the Khazars, or the fake Jews, right? The Khazarians, right? The people that converted to being a Jew, right? The same people that you see today with the kippas on their head, right? Shalom, right? They're trying to impersonate you, right? And the Ashkenaz, right? And it says the Crusades or Holy Wars, right? It was a medieval military expansion, right? The Europeans tried to recover the Holy Land from the Muslims, because the Muslims had occupied our land during that time. Because remember, the Europeans were over there in Europe, right? Before they came over to Israel, right? So the Arabs were occupying our land during that time in the 11th, 12th, and 13th centuries. So that's when they came down there, right? The Christians, right? The Crusades, right? The so-called white man came down there and said, hold on, we want this land. We want God's land. Because remember, by this time, we was already in sub-Saharan slave trade, right? It was a joint conspiracy. They said, hold on, we want God's land. Guess what? 2,000 years later, they're fighting over that same land right now, kind of bombing each other back and forth. That free Palestine thing. No, don't free no damn Palestine. Y'all in our land, man. Right? Because in 1948, the Balfour Declaration, where Great Britain, backed up by America, gave that land, right? Gave that land to the so-called Jewish people, right? After Hitler was exterminating their ass, man. So, hey, the so-called Great Britain say, hold on, I'm going to put these people in that land. But the Arabs was already there. So that's why you have, what does it say? There will be no peace in the Middle East, man. Because you always have war for God's holy land, for our land, man. While our people want to sit up there and be Muslims, right? Let me go to Ezekiel 36 and 5. We just read in Joel chapter 2 that they parted God's land. All right, let me go to Joel chapter Ezekiel 36 and 5. All right, let me my precept. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 5. All right. And it says, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, right, the so-called white man, Edom, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of their heart, with despiteful minds, to cast it for a prey. So with joyful minds and with a cheerful heart, they said, we about to get God's land, man. Woo, we about to get God's land. They appointed the Lord's land into their possession. That's out the scriptures, man, that they would do that, man. And parted his land with the Arabs, man. You know, parted his damn land with the Arabs, man. The Lord not dealing with that, man. Right? Lord not dealing with any of that. Right, so this is the history of Islam, man, and there's so much more information I could bring out, so much more information. Right, kind of did a whole paper on Islam, man, in college, you know. So we got to understand the history of Islam. If you're in a religion and you don't know nothing about it, get the history behind it so you know why you in there, right? So you know why they're trying to target Jake, so why they're trying to target you, right? They want you in their religion, man. Right, Malcolm. Hey, what they was doing with Malcolm X? They had Malcolm X propagating Elijah Muhammad, trying to get all the Muslims together. It wasn't a problem to be Muslim, right, in the 60s. But when you're a Hebrew Israelite, why is it a problem when you return back to your true nationality? It's not a problem to be a Muslim, right, to be Arab in this society. But as soon as you say I'm a Hebrew, it's a problem, man. Right, and you wonder why they want you to be Muslim so bad, man, because we reading the history behind it, you know. Rereading the history behind it. So we brought out Quran verses, right? We brought out 2 different sources, right? No, 3 different sources. The 13th Tribe, right? I suggest you get that book, right? It's a nice book, right? The 13th, it goes into a little bit of history of that too, right? So we brought out some sources, actually 4 sources. We brought out the Bible, right? We bringing out the history, man, of this fraudulent religion, right? Of this fake religion that our people are so overindulged in, man. You know, so if you in Islam, I suggest you get out and get back into your own book, the Bible. Right? It's not a so-called white man's book. The white man didn't write this book, right? Actually, the judgment of the so-called white man is in this book and the other nations, and that how God's chosen people are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? So return back to your nationality, get out of that damn Islam, right? And kind of look up that history for yourself, man. Right? Look it up for yourself, man. Right? Get the books and kind of do your own research, man. And you're gonna understand what I'm talking about. You're gonna understand the damn fraudulency behind damn Islam, man. Trying to copy you and take your book, you know. But I would like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Lord willing, you are edified, right? Hey, support the brand Kingdom Vibes, right? Go to kingdomvibes.net, get you a sweater, get you a pair of shorts, get you some slides, man. Support the nation, kingdomvibes.net, right? I repeat it again, kingdomvibes.net. If you're out here in the Chicago area, come down to the Bean Friday nights and Saturday afternoon, right around 4 o'clock, right around 4 o'clock, come down and get this word, man, right? And if you come up there with a false doctrine, best believe it's getting cut up with the scriptures. Best believe it's going to get chopped down, right? We're going to kind of take this big sword and kind of swing it and chop it, man, like we just did with Islam today, man. Right? So, Lord willing, you are edified, and I like to give our praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahshua, and bid a mighty, mighty strong shalom.